This is the first in a series of short teaching tips videos focusing on the science behind how the mind works to support learning and what teaching tips we can draw from this. The ideas in this video all come from the book Why Don't Students Like School by Daniel T Willingham. Having an understanding about how humans remember information and learn new skills better equips teachers to identify what teaching strategies work and which ones are less effective. I will run through a selection of ideas in this series, then look at what lessons we can draw from them to enhance our teaching practice. Idea 1 is that thinking does not come easily for people. Willingham's research shows us that the brain is not actually designed for thinking. Instead, it's designed to save you from thinking. Compared to our abilities to see and to move, the process of thinking is actually quite slow, takes concentration, and can be unreliable. You need to focus all your attention on one thought. So, how do we ever get things right? Luckily, our brain doesn't rely on thinking, it relies on memory. Like me, have you ever locked your front door only to walk down the street and worry about whether you left your house unlocked? The reason for this is because every time we perform a task, our brains try to store as much information from this into our long-term memory. So familiar daily tasks become second nature because we are using our memory to guide our behaviour. This doesn't require much attention, so our brain stores these procedures as memory to save us thinking. Willingham says that memory is the residue of thought, so if we aren't thinking, we won't remember doing. Hence why I often have to go back and check my front door. So if human brains are naturally wired to avoid thinking, how can we get students in classrooms to learn? Well, thankfully, humans enjoy thinking as long as the conditions are right. Curiosity is a natural human trait. But if a problem is considered too easy or too difficult, then the brain checks out. So to encourage thinking, the mental workload needs to be seen as both achievable and challenging. Here's a simple model of the brain. First, the brain uses information from the environment to process our senses, to identify potential problems, and to look for clues. Our working memory is where our conscious thinking happens, where everything we do and think about is processed. You are processing what I am saying right now in your working memory. Underpinning all this is our long-term memory. This is the vast memory bank where our factual knowledge of the world and understanding of how to do things is stored, from names of friends to how to tie your shoelaces. Long-term memory is vital to thinking. If these prior facts and procedures were not ready to be used, it would place a great strain on the brain's working memory. Working memory only has so much space. If it becomes too crowded with information, thinking breaks down. This is called cognitive overload. Let's look at this maths problem. Pause the video and think about the steps you would take to work it out. Done? Here are two of the most common mental methods. Can you think of how many stored facts and procedures would need to be pulled from a child's long-term memory to answer this without cognitive overload? The environment can have a positive or negative impact on this too. If there are lots of distractions such as multicoloured boards and very few blank spaces on the walls, then this will clog up students' working memory. But if the environment is calm and many boards or any boards focus on precise memory triggers such as word banks or steps to success, this will actually relieve pressure on working memory and allow more space for thinking to take place. So what lessons can we draw from these ideas? To be sure, problems are achievable, but respect students' cognitive limits. Don't make it too hard either. Find the balance. Carefully plan the problems to be solved and key questions for the lesson. Ensure background knowledge has been taught beforehand. I'll speak more about this in the next video. Present students with problems to solve at the right time after they have enough information to go at. Make the environment as calm as possible without distractions, but consider meaningful prompts that can support students and lessen the strain on working memory.